Howdy, guys. My name is Tamika Newhouse, and welcome to a conversation with some of Dafina's best authors. We are going to be talking about their creative process, also their experience with Dafina, and a little bit about Dafina books is they are an imprint under Kensington, which is one of the major publishers out of New York. And they created a line devoted specifically for us, people of colors, 20 years ago, and they have published hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books since then. And we're going to be able to speak with some of these writers who have been able to be under their line, to be able to exceed and even master their creative journey with Dafina along the way. So I'm going to introduce these ladies, and they're going to talk a little bit about themselves. And then we're going to dive a little bit more into their experience and their journey with Dafina. So, Cheris Hodges, tell us a little bit about your book, introduce yourself, and I'm going to jump into Sharina.
Okay, I'm Cheris Hodges. I've been published with Dafina Books, Kensington, since 2006.
Wow.
Yeah, I have written 35 books, and 31 of them have been under Dafina.
That's what's up.
My first book with Dafina was Just Can't Get Enough. It came out in 2007, I think. And my current book is Owner of a Broken Heart, which is the first book in the Richardson Sisters series. One thing that I really enjoy about writing with Dafina is the creative freedom that you get to tell Black love stories, because Black love needs to be normalized, okay? Right. My parents have 50 plus years of marriage. You know what I mean? It's like, I grew up in that. They got married on Christmas Eve. I'm trying to get my mom to let me tell that story. So it needs to be normalized. I feel like Dafina has been consistent in allowing those stories to be told through that line and through the view of African American creators, Black love, Black life, things that mean a lot to us that other people need to see and need to realize that, hey, this is normal. It's not always pain. It's not always trauma.
Drama. Somebody being cheated on. Right. Well, come through, veteran. Literary legend with 35 books. I'm still trying to, hit the 20 mark. God damn. Well, all righty then. Sharina, what's going on with you? Are you a living legend as well?
I don't have 30. I don't have 35 books. No. I am a Dafina baby, so to speak. I published my first book with Kensington this year, at the height of the pandemic. So that was tons of fun. Thank you. Yes. So
that's a great book.
Thank you. Cheris has been too kind to me.
That book is good.
Well, she's the living legend on Dafina, so she is good. It's good.
Well, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take that compliment. And she told me that it meant the world to me. It really does. And just being on this call with all of you, for all of your books, just means the world to me. But yeah, I've been. This was my fourth book, so I was with a small press before, and it folded. So Kensington was and Dafina were like my big publisher, my big win. And so my book, Imperfectly Happy, or I'm Perfectly Happy, however you want to see it. It's about it's like Waiting to Exhale meets Insecure. So it's about, so it was about four friends. They met in college. They're in their 30s now. Back in college, they formed a mastermind group, which is an accountability group to go after their dreams. And they just realized they're in their 30s. They're no closer to their dreams, and they're just sick and tired of being sick and tired. So they resolved to reform the group and go after their dreams. And they have some very different dreams. One person wants to be a musician, a writer, wine expert.
I think I want to read this book.
Yeah.
You need to. You're going to love it.
I'm going to see you the link in the chat.
Because I want to see, don't tell us, but I want to see, I want to hear, but I want to read the journey on how they try to get to the book. I want to get to it.
Okay. All right.
I want to read that.
And it has some romance in it, because my roots are in romance, my little roots. because I've only been around for a minute, uh, are in romance. So it has some strong romantic elements in there. And yeah, what was attractive to me for this line in particular, I'm not gonna lie, Essie. I was super excited. I met her at I think Romantic Times conference. It was in Atlanta, and I had an opportunity to meet with her, to pitch her, secured an agent, and probably about maybe a year later, pitched her or sent her the story. I think she does excellent work, and I think just to mimic what Cherise said, I think they've done a good job. They have 20 years before it was trendy to publish
To
our
publish our
books,
stories,
right?
like
They
to have
did,
a
yeah.
whole Black line. Right. It's not
Yeah,
a trend, you guys. Like this is something they do.
Right.
It's
yeah,
not
and that's
something
that's
they're
something
just
that's
jumping
important
on.
to me. That's
Yeah.
something that's important to me. That's something I noticed, and yeah, so I'm just really excited to be here.
Congratulations. And by the
Well,
way,
thank
love your
you.
skin. You're absolutely
Oh,
beautiful.
oh,
Uh, Tiff, I haven't, Tiffany L. Warren, someone I personally came across in my early years. I haven't seen you in about a decade.
I
But you're looking
know.
good, my lady.
Thank you, girl.
Introduce yourself to everybody. Tell them a little bit about you and your journey with Dafina.
So I'm Tiffany Warren. I have written 30 plus books. I don't have the exact number. I got to see if I'm a living legend
Okay,
like
come on,
Cherise.
living legend.
You are. You are.
I mean, 30, yes.
But I start earlier in my career. I started off writing inspirational fiction with Walkworthy Press and Grand Central, and then
Mhm.
I actually came to Dafina to write young adult. So I was writing adult fiction and young adult fiction under a pen name for maybe 2-3 years with Dafina. And, some things happened in the industry, big shakeup at Grand Central. I did not have an adult fiction book deal for a couple of years. So I did a little bit of self-publishing and talked to Selena James at RT one year, and she said, you know what? Let's do a sequel to your first book that was like your biggest seller. So I came to Dafina, and like Cherise, I will echo what Cherise said about them giving you so much creative freedom. I loved bringing my inspirational fiction to Dafina because they didn't put rules on it. There wasn't like, oh, your character can't drink alcohol, or oh, your character can't do this or can't do that. And so I would say about the past 4 or 5 years, I've been transitioning more to women's fiction, just because I'm done writing inspirational fiction for a while. I want to do something different.
You want to do
And
something
so,
different.
again, I love that Dafina did not really, they didn't flinch at me saying, I really don't want to do this anymore. Even though my core audience is inspirational fiction, they were like, okay, well, let's see what you got. And, luckily, I've been fortunate. My readers have come with me on the journey. But a lot of publishers, they will drop you in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Dafina will work to build the career of a writer. One bad release or one thing that didn't really maybe resonate with readers is not necessarily the end of your career at Dafina.
Right.
And a lot of times with African American writers, we only get one shot.
Girl.
You get an advance, and if that book doesn't do major numbers, good day. And Dafina is not like that. So what I've loved about Dafina is the fact that Dafina is a place for you to grow your readership and to grow your career and for you to take chances. So I'm so happy that Mercedes Fernandez, she is the one who signed me to Dafina. I was her first author.
Mercedes.
And now she's somewhere off having babies.
Right.
But I miss her so much. So I'm happy that I found Dafina and Dafina found me, and it's just been a really good home over these past, I signed with Dafina in I think 2009. So
Okay.
it's been a good ride.
It's been a good ride.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty great. Shelly, take us into your journey with Dafina.
Well, I started at Dafina. I think I signed with them in 2011, and I also signed with Mercedes. I've done about 15 books with them. I also appreciated, Mercedes told me outright, because actually I was kind of scared because of what I had heard about the industry, that if you didn't make big sales out the gate, usually is 1 or 2 shots and then you're done. And she said that at Dafina, we're really more into developing a career of our authors. So we will allow you to basically fail and come back and experiment more and see if you can shift to another audience, which is basically what I did, because I started in romance and then I shifted to women's fiction. And it was Mercedes' suggestion to do that, because she said, I think your strength is more in writing kind of like soapy stories than straight romance. And she's like, is that something that you would consider? I was like, I hadn't done it before. I had grown up reading romance, but I'm willing to experiment. And as it turned out, that's where my career ended up going. And while at Dafina, like one of my biggest dreams came true, because I was nominated for an NAACP Image Award in literary fiction.
Hey.
Congratulations.
Yo, wait, say that again. She said it so modestly.
Yeah,
you were nominated for what?
Yeah.
What were you nominated for?
I was nominated for an NAACP Image Award in literary fiction under Dafina, and Mercedes edited that one too. So it was something that I never thought would ever happen, but because I was at a place that was willing to let me just be myself and write in my own voice, I was able to make that dream come into fruition. So now I'm doing women's fiction full time. And the next book series that I have coming out is the 3 Mrs. Grays. It's a story about 3 women who arrive at the hospital and find out that their husband has been shot, and their husband is all the same man. So they,
well, damn. I want to read that too.
I was like, is it generational? No, it's the same. 3 Mrs. Grace.
Yeah,
that sounds really
good. So
good.
they're all trying to, once they figure out, wait, we're all married to the same man, they also start to unravel other lies about him. So the women start to work together and work against each other to try to figure out who shot their husband and why was he shot and who's next. So it's kind of like a Black women's fiction domestic thriller, and Essie encouraged me to do it, and she said that Kensington was excited about it. So I'm happy. I'm excited to experiment too, because domestic
girl, you need a
thrillers
beta reader.
Right.
I know. I was like, I'm not
Don't do that. First of all, y'all under the Dafina. Y'all can't do that. I want to do it. I want to do the better reading, please.
Can't do it.
Me.
I'm gonna add this.
I do it. I am more than willing. I am more than willing to send you stuff if you want to read it.
Okay, I will. I'm gonna email you because that sounds really, really good. I can actually see that on a small screen, like a series.
Yeah, I was excited to write it. I was scared, but like everyone else has said about Dafina, they're willing to say like, hey, if you want to try it, if the audience is willing to go there with you, go ahead and do it.
Go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
And so just to piggyback off of everything that everyone said, which I love to hear, is that Dafina allowed you guys to be creatively free. They didn't control your voice. And that's really what the core of even my own mission is with AAMBC and with Black Writers Weekend, is to amplify Black voices and the stories that they create. So I love the fact that they did not control you guys like that, and for you guys to be able to publish numerous of books with them lets me know that you feel comfortable and you feel safe and you feel secure with them. So Cheris and Tiff, this is probably for you ladies more so than the others, because you guys are the living legends with the 35 plus books.
Girl.
There was recently a hashtag that was trending because, you know, with the climate right now, with the systemic racism, and everyone's kind of bringing some things to light. And there was a hashtag going on called Publishing Paid Me. You guys see that? So we don't necessarily technically have to go into your, specific numbers or go into your contracts, because of course you don't have to do that. But with you guys being so comfortable enough to freely create, continue to freely create, and continue to sign contracts with Dafina, go into it with your journey with everything. And for those who did not know what was Publishing Paid Me, it was a hashtag that were white writers and were writers who were not Black, they were getting paid significantly, a large gap when it came to Black writers. We would see, new Caucasian writers come out with nothing under their belt, and they're getting these $100,000 contracts. You got these Black writers that have 10 books or 5 books under their belts, and they still trying to get 20, 30,000. And that's for all the books. Like, it's not even just for one, it's like for a series where they're locking you in for 3 or 4 books or whatever the case may be. So can you guys dive into your experience with being paid where you feel like you were earned, not where you were earned, but you felt like you were being paid what you deserved?
Ooh. So this is a multifaceted issue, right? So part of it is how many books are selling, right? So we as African American writers, our reach has been smaller because of less money overall, not just how much money is coming in my pocket, but how much money overall industry wide. So this is not just one publisher, this is across the board.
Right.
How much money has been put behind your mid-list African American authors?
Right.
It's you will see things, and I've been at several publishers, so this is definitely not just a Dafina thing, but you will see a publishing campaign for an African American author's release with 6 other authors. So they'll buy some ad space and it'll be like 20 book covers in it.
Yeah.
Versus, this is my release and I get a marketing campaign for me.
For me. Right.
As far as advances go, so I've always been on the side of I'm not walking away from my direct deposit because, I've never,
like
yes, I mean, I've had sales out the gate. My first book sold 50,000 copies. You would think it would have seen advances commensurate with that. And I have not over the course of my career. I've been blessed that my sales I've never not earned out. So I've always made money on the back end. Because I've never walked away from my job, it's not ever been an issue for me. Can I live off what I make as a writer? No, I cannot. And those who are blessed that can, I applaud and appreciate them. And, it keeps hope alive for me that, I will have that breakthrough moment where then I can walk away from my direct deposit and my benefits package. But until then, she will get a paycheck every 2 weeks. That hashtag on Twitter, I had Miss Beverly Jenkins actually retweeted my tweet about publishing paid me. And it was not so much about the advance that I had gotten. It was about an editor, not a Dafina editor, an editor, because this is a science fiction book that I wrote, an editor who was offended by the premise of the book. And so my publishing paid me story was, well, publishing didn't pay me nothing for this because right now I don't have a home. But but yeah, I mean, sometimes we're not, like, you see some very creative things and very creative book covers that I've seen for authors that are not necessarily African American that look like art. Like hang it on your wall. And that, like I said, I'm gonna turn the mic over to somebody else, but it's about how much money is being spent overall African American books. But then we have to look at our readers. How much money are our readers spending on African American books too? The sales, it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Right.
We get more sales, or are you waiting for the sales to somehow magically say, oh, we should give you more money? So I'm gonna stop talking. Somebody else jump in.
Well, over the course of my career, because I didn't always have a good contract or a safe place. I was with another publisher that I will not name that tried to cater to African Americans for a little while before they decided not to. And there was no promotion of the Black books. It's like publishing is still very white. I mean, let's just be real. Publishing is white as snow. Okay. Yeah. So the gatekeepers and the people that are doing the marketing, that are accepting the books, that are promoting the books and making the promotions and everything for the books, they don't look like us and they don't understand our stories. Yeah. I had someone say because I don't write about kids. I don't like children. I don't have children. I promised my niece and nephews when they were babies that I was going to write them a children's book. And the youngest niece that I have now is 28 years old.
Oh, and wow.
They still don't have that children's book.
But hey, Cheris, you look very young.
My brother and sister, they're the old ones. They're the old. We're going to go with that. Okay. But it's just, we don't normalize, and I say this all the time, we don't normalize Black stories, Black experiences that go beyond, the trauma that makes white people comfortable, makes them feel good. I read a story about a maid that overcame something. Oh, I can feel good. I read about slavery. I feel good. But you can't relate to two Black people falling in love. But you love an alien with 5 penises. You can relate.
I read one of her books.
They're like, I can relate to this. Multiple penetration, I can relate to it.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Right, so, you can relate to that, but you can't relate to that.
But you can't relate to Black people falling in love with, with human interaction. We're all human. And I'm not like this all lies, blue lies. We're all human, so we have emotions that are going to be the same. You can read about Black people and realize that they're Black and they're falling in love and be cool with that. If you can read about the aliens, it's something that, bothers me so much. And I feel like that is the reason why I had to mute Publishing Paid Me, because I was going to actually have to go to an AA meeting in the corona if I kept reading those hashtags about all this stuff, because I'm like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, am I that horrible of a writer?
No.
Like, do I suck? Like, because it was the one that made me like get off Twitter for like a week was the dude that nobody heard of his book, and he got $800,000. He got an $800,000 advance. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna log off and I'm gonna go write a story. And it's not a romance. I'm just gonna kill a whole bunch of people in this story. I'm not gonna take it out that way. But what we need is a change in publishing, in marketing, in all of that, because our stories are just as important as everybody else's story. Yep. And it's not, like you said when we first started this, it's not a trend. You don't just say, I want own voices because somebody started a hashtag on Twitter. You have people that need to read stories to get out of their comfort zone so that they can realize something. Because unfortunately in America, we are not as smart as we want to pretend that we are. The coronavirus is showing us that, right?
Definitely.
So you need to read some fiction, get some entertainment so you can learn something. Because I think everybody on this panel, when you write a book, you put a lesson in there, even if you don't know you're putting a lesson in there. Yep. Because we know that somebody's going to pick up that book that the only interaction they've ever had with a Black person was from a reality TV show.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I would, sorry. Okay. And I know I'm the newbie, but I would my background is in marketing, and I would argue that they're just not simply, just as a whole, not investing in us. And you can use Jasmine Guillory as a case study. They invested in her. Yep. I deconstructed because basically all the stuff that Berkeley's team did, and they put in the work for her, right? and she became a New York Times and USA Today bestseller, right? I'll also say, like, like Alexa Martin, I think they've her publicity team, they have invested in her. And I think, and that just goes to show, if you invest in us, things will happen, things will move, right? We are Black women are the #1 demographic as far as readers, right? So even if you don't want to market, quote unquote, because you don't know how to, diversely or whatever, if you just target Black, we're there. We have the money, we're spending the money. They're just not willing to invest in us. It's not enough to acquire. And so that's what that showed me, because like they said, from an advance, they're using that part of that, the portion of that, to invest in marketing.
And Black women are more educated than any other woman in this country. And you don't get educated without reading. We read.
Amen.
I mean, those of us exactly. Those of us who started writing and reading romance as teenagers, we didn't see Black romance books available widely. Now, this is not saying anything about the history of, but available widely, marketed, mass market until the 90s. Like, my sister is the reason why I started writing romance. I was reading Zora Neale Hurston, Maya Angelou, and that's the kind of writer I thought I was going to be.
Same.
Although I realized that I could not tell Maya Angelou's story because I didn't live that story.
And everybody's story isn't that heavy or that deep, or like it's
exactly. And I'm fluff. I am fluffy like a marshmallow. I mean, I got nothing that deep that happened to me. So it's like, when I saw Black people on the cover of my sister's book, and she's like, this is a romance, and I had been stealing her Harlequins and reading them and changing everybody in the book to a Black person, and it was a Rochelle Ellis book, and I forget which name of the book, but it was a Rochelle Ellis book. It was Thanksgiving. She got up, I picked up her book, because she was like, oh, you write romance anyway, and I'm like, no, I don't, because I don't write about white people. So it's like, I picked this book up, I start reading this book, I'm like, okay. She comes back, she's like, I know you didn't lose my page. We about to go to blows. And my mom threatened us with taking away the turkey, so we calmed down.
And I love the fact that y'all feedback on just the hashtag in itself, and just because it's a sensitive topic. And just overall, I agree with all your points, with they're just not investing in us. A couple of years ago, I launched a campaign called They Say We Don't Read, which was basically saying that not only do we read, but we also create. And here are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of creators. Black Writers Weekend whole focus is to celebrate us. So if they won't give us the platform that we deserve, well, cool, we'll just create our own. And that's where the AABC Literary Awards came into play. We want to walk the red carpets. We want to be treated like stars. We want to be able to, shake hands with studio execs and Hollywood and all this jazz. So if they won't allow us to come to the party, well, cool, we'll create our own party and y'all can come on over here to us. So I really love the feedback and what you guys stated about that, because honestly, it's just that whole perception, or just that stigma that we don't read and then we don't invest. This is a multi-million-dollar industry, especially when the rise of ebooks came. And then, you have the whole other genre that kind of skyrocketed with street lit and hood books and thug love books, like all those things, and began to kind of just be on the forefront. And people like, wait, y'all read these books? And people want to talk things about the quality of the stories, but those are our stories. That is our experience. So let me go ahead, Shelly. I'm sorry.
I was actually going to say that in addition to the publishing paid me, and you kind of bring it up, these are our stories and these are the things we like to read and the stories we like to tell. I was kind of alarmed when I saw there was some statistic that it was specific to YA, but overall, I think it applies to a lot of publishing, when they said that 46% of stories with Black characters in young adult books are actually written by Black people.
What? And 46? Half? Not even
less than half. Which to me it's indicative of the gatekeepers in publishing houses, and not even before it even hits marketing. The gatekeepers, I was like, do they not like Black voices? Is it specifically the way we tell our stories that is a turnoff to the gatekeepers who are looking at the agents or the editors who are looking at your story and saying, I don't like how you execute it. I don't like the voice.
They're
and I'm
offended.
kind of like, well, in like how you said, when you told your story, you submitted it and she's like, no,
Right.
this is, I don't even want to see this, let alone to publish it. And so I'm like, how many Black writers hit that wall before they even get to a publishing baby?
Yeah.
It's so many stories that are probably amazing stories, but the gatekeepers don't even like how they executed the story because of their very distinct voice that publishing doesn't seem to appreciate for whatever reason.
But then you'll see like a Terry McMillan, when she came out the gate with a distinctly African-American voice with her writing. Again, like Sharina said, they invested in her. They invested in her, and you know, not at the very beginning, but once they invested in her, she became huge. She a New York Times bestseller.
And they wanted duplicates instead of saying like, "Hey, I want more unique voices."
Yes.
It's like, no, I just want another Terry McMillan.
We want you to write another Terry McMillan book.
But I'm not a Terry McMillan.
Right.
But I'm not a Terry McMillan, and I don't have to be a Terry McMillan. But I'm like, so much of the industry is invested, because even when you brought up Jazz and Guillory, I'm like, how popular have minority rom-coms come after Jasmine?
Right.
Instead of saying, hey, we need more voices, it's like, no, we need more voices like hers.
Like this.
Yes. And I'm like,
I
no,
agree.
open the gate. Don't try to just create replicas of the same thing.
Of the same thing.
And that's one of the issues in, you know, expanding out and trying to sell other stories, because the first thing that they'll say, well, you need to be more like, it's publishing is Hollywood shuffle. I just told you right now. But publishing is Hollywood shuffle. Oh my God. Do this.
It is.
This book sold 5 million copies, so everybody that looks like this author has to write the same kind of story.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm from a small town in South Carolina. I love small town romances. 9 times out of 10, a small town romance is all white. And it's like, so if I write about a small town that's mostly Black, I'm going to get from editors, oh no, I just couldn't relate. Oh, I
can't connect.
I can't, it just doesn't vibe with me. And I'm looking like, but that was my hometown. Like, you know, I go on Twitter and people are like, well, when did you have your first Black teacher? Kindergarten.
Right.
My hometown was mostly Black. My teachers were Black. My principals were Black. My mom's best friend was an AKA who worked in the school district. And she was my gifted and talented teacher. I saw her all the time, whether it was like at school, she was at the house. So it was like, now the town was segregated. There's a bunch of little, you know, some pockets of racism up in there. They ain't that now. We in the South, but it was like I saw Black excellence all the time. So it wasn't like, oh, until I went to a historically Black college, that's the first time that I saw that. Those people are the reason why I went to a historically Black college, because in my gifted and talented classes in high school, it was me and 5 other Black kids. I'm looking like, we ain't the only smart Black people in the world. And then A Different World came out. So it's like, that's what I'm doing.
Oh, you telling your age a little bit. Tell your age.
Look, I gotta make sure I moisturize real good tonight.
Were you ladies going back into your journey with Dafina? It's been hundreds of writers they have published over the years, and you guys have thrown out some very influential names. Can you take me to some of the artists, past, present, current, that have been a part of Dafina that have motivated you, or you admired their journey with Dafina?
I was gonna say Cheris.
Me too. Me
Y'all need to stop.
too.
Sydney Rax.
Okay.
Now why is her name escaping me? The young lady who she is street lit. Cheris, I know you know her name. I was just on a panel with her.
Zerde?
No, but her too. That's my girl.
Zuri Day, I love Zuri Day.
Love her.
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
What does she look like?
She's a lighter skinned Black woman.
Okay, it's not
she was so her story is she was in prison and she got a book deal when she came out.
I know who you talking about. I was just on a panel with her.
Was it Wahida?
Wahida?
No, she was Dafina.
Not Wahida. It was man. I swear I was on a Harlem.
Oh Lord, I can't.
Harlem Book Fair panel with her.
Yes, we were supposed to be on that panel together, and I couldn't do it.
You know what? I need y'all to do better.
We are horrible.
How many authors have been published under Dafina that you think?
Ooh.
Y'all been around for a long time.
It's been a lot. I mean,
it's been a lot.
And now Rashonda Tate Billingsley is again. Well, no, I think she is just coming to Dafina.
I think so
but
too.
she was with Selena before Selena was at Dafina. That's what I'm thinking of. So
gotcha. Okay.
Now Rashonda Tate Billingsley is at Dafina. Dafina is what I will say a lot of authors not come home to Dafina because home is a bridge too far, but Dafina is a place for Black authors to not necessarily have to worry about things like numbers.
Gotcha.
They want us to sell books, of course. I mean, it's a business, but at the same time, like I think Shelly said it earlier, you can
grow,
have an off
year or
an off book, but Dafina has just been home to so many Black authors, and then you've got the whole young adult. I want to say Dafina was doing way more young adult releases than for African American teens.
Yeah.
They were our voices.
Yeah, they were.
Even though there were times, like I remember I pitched to Mercedes an Afro-futuristic young adult series. And she said, she gonna get me if she watched this. She said, Black kids don't want to read that. I said, yes, we do. This is all I read when I was a teenager. I read Stephen King. I love.
They actually do. They just did not look like us.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will never forget. I was at RT the first year that they decided to do a teen like salon or whatever, where it was a line of teen authors, and we were sitting there with all our YA books. And I was sitting in between demons and fairies. Okay. And I had my Dafina young adult, which was, Black kids. They look like they were Bougetto. They were not Bougetto, but they were
had their little moments in between.
Your standard Black kids on the front of a book. And I cannot tell you how disheartened I felt. I actually called Mercedes in tears after this session because I watched the Black kids come up to the demons and the fairies, pick those books up and walk away with them. Even the Black moms were looking at my books like I have 5 kids. So my books were very clean, like there was no profanity. My teenagers weren't having sex because I didn't want my teenagers that lived in my house to think that this mama approved of that activity. So, I had Black moms picking up my books saying, is there sex in this? And I'm like, I mean, you ain't asked the demon and the fairy was
you ain't asking that,
right? You picking up my book and asking what's the kids having? Like, it bothered me so much. I had never been like more upset at a book conference because what I wanted to write for young African Americans is what they wanted to read. And I wasn't allowed to do that because either Black people can't write that. Even though Octavia E. Butler is my favorite author, I've been loving her before I even knew she was Black. And so it's either we can't write that or we don't want to read it. But our kids was walking around with Harry Potter and Twilight and everything else. So it's like, again, this is not just a financial investment into African Americans. We are allowed to participate, but to a certain extent in publishing. And what I have found, and I'm so happy that there is like a new resurgence of Afrofuturism, like you see.
It is.
But what I have noticed is that those are African writers by and large. And I'm like, what is it about African American writers? Like, why do you guys think we can't tell the story? And a lot of it is because what we're writing, the backdrop of it, because sci-fi, good sci-fi, or good futurism is always going to explore social issues because that's just
it's kind of like
what it does, right? So the things that we want to talk about, the social issues that we want to talk about, are rooted in what make the white gatekeepers uncomfortable. And so, they can take it from Africans because Africans are coming from a different mission space. Like they talk about racism too, but it's not on the backdrop of American racism. So
it's not like, oh, that could have been my ancestor that they talking about in that book. That might have been my grandma.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Somebody know. Right. So take me to you guys, your creative space during the COVID. This is kind of like it for me when it happened, because I have been working on designing the life I wanted to live for quite some time now, maybe 10 years. So when COVID hit, nothing changed in my day-to-day. I kind of just continued on, and then things kind of even got better. Because now everything is like blackety black. You see, Black is trending. Like Black is on Netflix. Black is on Amazon Prime. Every literary agent wants to get a new Black writer under their belt. Like everything is blackety black, black, black. So that meant, Black writers.
You're not lying. No lie, so.
I'm just saying, hey, now I experienced the same thing with Black Writers Weekend, just getting large media companies or $1 million brands to invest in Black Writers Weekend. And I had to kind of, fight and beat down some doors and then create some unique ideas around our stories so they can see, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're trying to implement. If people are coming, they want to read our books, they want to do that. So developing Black Writers Weekend and getting it to this point definitely was, a journey. But now it's kind of like, yes, we like what you're doing. Okay, that's great. That's awesome. So this year alone, we got 5 major publishers that have never invested in Black Writers Weekend before. And I feel like COVID and also the culture climate all played a factor into the shift and how people are now moving. It kind of during this time period, everyone was forced to sit down. Literally, you had to sit your butt down. And we was in the house for a good 90 days, maybe almost 90 days. I know I was.
What you talking about was? I'm still in the house.
Oh, well, people really supposed to be in the house, but they ain't really, I only go out for like grocery stores and my runs.
Unfortunately, North Carolina deems my day job to be
essential.
Oh. So I've been out and I had to quit a job in the middle of COVID because I work in the auto industry, guys. So I was working at this business where our sister store had 2 positive cases of COVID and they shut that store down. But the next day, they brought one of the managers from that store to our store.
Right.
I have a father who is a heart transplant and a kidney transplant recipient.
Oh, wow.
My parents are in their 70s. My mom is also, she has some immune deficiency stuff. So I can't cook and I go home to get food. I had to isolate myself from my family because these people trying to kill me. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and quit this job. But I found something else because I'm like, Tiffany, I need my benefits, right? So I found another job. So I go out more than I want to in the middle of a pandemic. And I feel like my city is not doing enough to keep the pandemic, keep the numbers going down because they open all these restaurants. I drive home, I have my windows up. I'm that person that's driving in the car by myself with my mask on. I just got a Grace Jones mask today. And
okay.
I'm like,
I want to see that Grace Jones mask.
Why is it so important for y'all to be outside? I'm gonna grab it in a minute. But why is it so important for y'all to be outside? So it like really took me to a place where it's like, I'm going to write stories that aren't in America, that aren't in 2020. So I don't have to like think about COVID. I have friends and stuff that are dealing with this. And, this has not been a good year for me. I'm really halfway not okay most days. I'm not okay. So it's like,
I'm definitely sending you hugs then.
Yeah.
Virtual hug. The Wakanda.
I've been very, very creative through this shutdown. Like I've mostly because of what Tamika is talking about with everything Black is king, black, I'm black, y'all, and I'm black. So I have been like, this is a moment. I hate that we have to latch on to a moment. You know what I mean? But I've had some opportunities come my way during this shutdown that I do not think if we weren't in this space, like I don't think they would have happened.
Yeah.
One of them, I haven't announced it yet, but by the time it's out, it might be announced. I have a movie deal.
And congrats! You know what? Congrats! You know what? I got a movie deal. Congratulations!
It's a TV deal. I'm not gonna say who it's with yet in case it's not announced by the time this come out, but it's a cable TV network. So and it's one of my inspirational fiction books. But what I was gonna say is I think COVID-19 made that particular network, like all the folks were working from home. They're going through all of this stuff, all of the proposals. Because I have been talking to this network for maybe a year. And the COVID-19 made people say, okay, now we have people sitting at home at work. They're not in meetings all day. They're at home. Look at these proposals. And then all of the movie industry in Hollywood pretty much ground to a halt. So now Netflix and, cable networks are all scrambling for content. And all of this started happening at the same time. And so, I got the opportunity to write the screenplay for my movie, which is, I would not have had time for that if I was, so I'm happy about that, about me having, just some time that I've not stopped working through this whole thing. I work for the federal government. We've not stopped. They just moved us home. But, not having to commute, not having to figure out what am I going to pack for lunch, like not having to worry about what I'm wearing to work. Like it's added hours to my day. So I am grateful for that slowing down. But, I think also with all of the protests that have happened during this time with, Black Lives Matter, all of this has been, this is fuel for creative. Like this is gasoline in our tank. Like these are the kinds of times that inspire a renaissance of, art. So I hope that coming out of this, we start to see, we're seeing right now a lot of lip service for Black folks. Like, I hope that it is a lasting change. I hope that it's more than writing Black Lives Matter on that part. I hope that, our lives and our voices and our contributions to this nation are valued. And to me, that means more than having a line with Black authors. Come on, Dafina, we need some Black gatekeepers. We need more Black editors. We need Black deal makers. We need more Black agents that can walk in and make a deal. I mean, you know, I love my agent, but she an old white lady. Like, where's the Black agents? You know what I mean?
You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
she makes a valid point, and you make a valid point. We need people in place everywhere, and I love the fact that you stay productive during this time period. I was just speaking on just earlier today because they're coming out with new numbers with the new stimulus package, and folks is saying, oh, the people are scrambling together trying to figure out what they're gonna do, and I'm like, when y'all get all this extra money this every month that y'all wouldn't even ever got from just going to work? Why were y'all stacking up? Or why were you overpaying on your bills or cleaning something? So I definitely love to hear that. And when they do the announcement, share that with us. We want to share it on the ABC network. We definitely want to televise that for you. And we want to talk about the experience as you go through it. I'm excited for you.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, that made my evening.
Know, right?
I was like,
and we got the exclusive, right? We got the exclusive. Tiffany, we got but we get the exclusive though, right?
Yes, girl, you got the exclusive.
Okay, all right, cool.
And I just wanted to say, the author that me and Cheris could not think of, I had to look at my phone. Kiki Swinson, we love you, girl.
Kiki, yeah. Kiki been with Kingston for a while.
Yes, like she has sold major,
a lot of books,
millions.
She's trying to sell millions of books.
Yes.
Kiki should be on a big screen or the small screen as well too. Kiki is
if she
she's a gate opener.
Yeah, and she's one of, like, there are some authors with Dafina who have been in hardcover for years, like Mary Monroe.
Yes.
And whenever you see an author that stays in hardcover, like, those books are moving. Like, those are that they're not just gonna, spend all that money putting, those books in hardcover. So, it's been this COVID-19 time. I think we're going to see a lot of debut authors come out of this. I think people are going to feel like, with it being so close to home, like, just about everybody I know knows somebody that has lost someone during this, or you're like 1 or 2 degrees of separation from someone who's been severely impacted by this. And it's just a time where folks, I think when you feel your mortality, you're looking at, what is my legacy going to be in this world? So I think that people are going to be more legacy focused during the rest of this time, trying to figure out, like, how they can leave their mark on the world.
I like to use the word legacy because, I definitely live by, I actually have that tatted on my shoulder here. I live by that word legacy. Shelly, Sharina, take us into you guys' experience in the COVID. How was it, or how is it? Since we still in it.
It ain't over.
Like 7 months later, like 2020 is over. And hopefully by January, like in February, we get some type of normalcy back. Lord Jesus, because it ain't like we can step off the earth.
Yes, I've been still writing books because I was actually on deadline when it happened. Still working full time. I'm one of those authors too that I need my job in order to take care of myself and take care of my family. I was also homeschooling simultaneously. So trying to juggle writing, job, homeschooling. I will say for the first 2 weeks, I was wondering, was I going to make it? Like, mentally, could I hold up? Because all of this stuff was compressed into one space in one house. And I was used to, like, at the end of the day that I leave work and I come home and I write. And my daughter went to school and came home and she did her thing. But now all of it is in the same space. And to having to do all of that simultaneously, it was some juggling. I had to get creative. I had to rearrange scheduling. You write when you can, because work is work and school is school, and I got to stick to those regimental cycles. But luckily, it worked out. I mean, you're right that this could drag on for months and months and months until 2021. So you just got to figure it out. And I will say too, writing provides a great mental release. It's great emotionally. It's a great outlet. It's always been for me, even when I was a little girl scribbling in my notebook. So when I do feel overwhelmed, it feels good to go back to the page and disappear into the world of the characters, because that's the outlet that's always worked.
Yeah. And I would say like Shelly, the first couple of weeks were it's really tough because I have a 2-year-old, and and then I'm in the hospitality industry, so I am corporate, but we had major layoffs. So people I've been working with for like nearly 10 years were laid off. So that was it was emotional time, and just trying to. So my husband and I were just trying to bounce back and forth to entertain a 2-year-old, which is really hard to do. And I had that moment where like I don't know what I'm gonna do, but we we figured it out. We have a good routine. Like Shelly said again, writing has been a really great form of escapism. Like right now I am writing, just finished up like a paranormal / urban fantasy and a young adult fantasy. So it's been great because I don't have to think about at this moment, how am I going to write this? How am I going to do the setting now? If someone goes on an airplane, what's going to happen? So I get to ignore it in my books, which has been great. Even if I were doing contemporary, I would ignore it.
I'm ignoring it.
In this world, it doesn't exist.
It does not exist. My characters are gonna kiss.
Right.
They gonna hug.
They at the restaurant. They at Top Golf.
How are you gonna date? Like seriously, like how you meet somebody? Looking at the Jesus.
Yeah, so I met somebody getting some gas the other day, so it's like,
that's nice.
I guess.
You liked his forearms, the strong forearms.
It was like, we got a problem because you might have beautiful eyes, beautiful arms.
The teeth, and the teeth might be.
Lower
that mask.
Lower the mask.
Lower the mask. Get
right.
I don't know yet.
Like,
look, they're gonna be mask fishing, not hat fishing.
Mask fishing.
Mask fishing, y'all.
You had
they can definitely be a representative now with the whole mask. You definitely can be a pretender now. So definitely, the world is definitely different. We definitely have to maneuver through this year differently. We're discovering our new normal. We're discovering ourselves too, like with having to sit still, not being able, to hop on a plane or escape. We gotta stay in that space. And I'm hugging you all while you're going through COVID. Give me some hugs back as well. Congratulations on all the current success, your future success. This conversation has been great. I really, really enjoyed talking to you ladies. I did not expect y'all to be this entertaining. I'm not gonna front. Y'all were really fun to talk to. And just to again mention Dafina, I want to commend them and the editors that have worked under Dafina, the marketing publicity department that has worked on to help televise you guys' stories. 20 years in the making. They have been doing this way before it was a hashtag, way before it was trendy. And they took risk on voices like ours. And I thank them for continuing to do that. We encourage them to continue to do it 20, 30 years, 40 years from now. We want them to be here for a long, 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 long time. And if you guys are watching this conversation and you're not familiar with Dafina Books, go to our event app. We have some information there where you can go directly to Dafina's website. You can see all of these ladies here and all the other Dafina artists that have been a part of our conversations all weekend long. We also have access to their books that you guys can purchase as well. So you definitely, as a matter of fact, before we conclude, everybody, please go down the line, let everybody know where they can find you and your latest book and where that can be purchased. It's be everywhere because Dafina has great distribution, so everywhere basically. But yeah, Cheris, you can go first.
I am on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. My website is the Cheris, and it's spelled Cheris, no E, HODGES.com. You can get links to all of my social media. My latest book is Owner of a Broken Heart, which was inspired by a real event from my past career as a sports journalist.
Okay.
Luckily, that quarterback no longer is in my city. He's in Boston. Go ahead and read it.
Oh,
You'll
Lord.
get it. You'll get it. You'll get it. The name will
man.
tell you everything.
Oh, it definitely does. I chuckled so hard when I said
But Owner of a Broken Heart is the first in the Richardson Sisters series. It's a 4-book series. Book 2, Won't Go Home Without You, will be out in January.
Gotcha. And congratulations on being a living legend. And I can't wait to see. I'm for real. Y'all keep laughing at that. 35 books. That's a lot of books.
That's amazing.
There's a lot of
amazing.
stories to
I
tell.
know.
Like that's a lot of different characters. It's a lot of different circumstances, and you can't. And for you to be able to write different people and then not overlap from your previous. Come on, that takes talent. So yes, you live in legend.
Being a writer allows you not to have to go into the asylum because the voices in your head, they're not people, they're characters. So that's why I became a writer.
And this is true, guys.
Yep.
We make jokes that writers are cuckoo or we have all this, but we actually do. We actually have all this going on in our head and we see things differently. And we may have different, reactions to certain things because we have to relate and connect with our characters and their emotions. So this is an art form, like writing is an art. And so most creatives and most artists, they feel heavily, they create heavily. They're very intense and passionate lovers and passionate caretakers and great leaders. So we're just all across the board. Kanye West is a good example of somebody who genius and crazy. But go ahead, Sharina.
I gotta follow up after the Kanye comment.
Just saying, Kanye said,
talent, guys.
Harris, she fleed the slaves, so the slaves go work for the white people. I'm like, Kanye, please. Not today, sir. Not today.
I'm out of the Kanye way.
Not today,
but,
sir.
Oh man. So as far as social, all of my handles are pretty much Sharina Writes. My website is sharinaharris.com. As far as my books, they are everywhere. I saw I did go to Walmart and Target just to see, and I was super excited to see my book on the shelf. That was just best feeling. I'll never get over that feeling. So it's everywhere, so Imperfectly Happy is out, and then I have another book, Judge's Girls, that's coming out in October. So I got 2 pandemic babies this year, so that's lots of fun. But yeah,
congratulations on your new journey with Dafina, by the way. I hope it's a really long, successful one.
Yes,
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Tiffany.
So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram with the handle TL Warren. My Facebook page is author Tiffany L. Warren. Or wait, Instagram, Twitter, Tiffany L. Warren.
Okay.
Facebook, author Tiffany L. Warren. Okay.
Okay.
And I also have a text group. It's called Community, and I send text messages to my readers, and we interact. It's super fun, and you can join that by just sending a message. Just say hey to 216-868-4053. That number again is 216-868-4053, and that's my text community. My most current release is All the Things I Should Have Known, a fun little romp with 3 40-year-old women who decide they're going to break the rules and date the next guy who asks, no matter who. And it's a lot of fun. And I'm working, my COVID Baby is the sequel, All the Things I Meant to Tell You, which comes out in 2021. So come have fun with me. I really clown hard on social media.
Yes, you do.
No one there to censor me. So
I'm glad you got out of inspirational writing because folks be like, wait a minute.
Well, you know, sometimes there was a little bit of cognitive dissonance there because, you know, I'm saved, but I'm not like the people in the book. And so, yeah, sometimes it didn't 100% match. Like they would want me to lead prayer at the book club meetings and I would have a cocktail like to the side. So I'm like, okay, I don't know
Tiffany
if it's leaving the room, but okay.
Tiffany theme song is Try Jesus. That's her theme
Oh God, Try Jesus.
That's your theme song. That's
Try
your
Jesus.
theme song.
I
Try
like.
Jesus.
You talking about the new Try Jesus? That's
The
been going
new
around?
Try Jesus.
Oh,
Yeah,
girl. I done watched that 100 times.
Girl.
You gotta say Try Black
So
Jesus.
many people did that to me. I had to play it at work today just as a warning.
Oh my God.
I'm not scared of the ladies' hands.
You know what, Sheree? I think you come with a little violence. I see some violence there. The sister.
Oh, y'all making me laugh.
Sorry.
Miss Shelly, y'all be professional. Miss Shelly, can you tell us your social media handles?
Well, okay. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, but I will say most of the times if you want to talk to me, I'm on Twitter and it's at Ellis Romance. Yeah, my website is www.shellyellisbooks.com. The next book I have coming out, like I said before, was The Three Mrs. Grays, 3 wives, 1 husband, he shot, and they all discover all the secrets that unravel after
I
that.
definitely want to read that one.
I'm hoping that people like it. I'm excited about it. So I'm
I like the plot.
When is
I like
it
the plot
come
itself.
Oh, sorry. Oh, it comes out in March.
In March. Okay.
The most
It comes
important
out.
part.
That's my
Is
birthday
that the
present.
cover? It's like a blue cover, like a
Yes.
dark. Yes, I
Yes.
love that cover. Yeah,
thank
it
you.
matches the
Thank you.
storyline. Yeah.
We came up with that cover together because I was like, I want something that looks like a domestic thriller, and I noticed that a lot of the white domestic thrillers were doing that color wash, and I'm like, I want to be the black one that does it too. So we said, all right, let's try it, and I really like how it turned out.
Yeah, I love it too. I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
good. Definitely
Thank
let us know when it comes out. We definitely would love to do some type of book talk or book launch with you. Yeah, so keep us in the loop. And for those who are curious about me, my Twitter is Tamika Newhouse. I'll be on there talking a lot of trash though, so don't judge me. That's my own personal haven. But if you want to follow all the fun that's going on with Black Writers Weekend, go to Black Writers Weekend on Instagram, also on Twitter. Black is abbreviated to BLK Writers and WKND. So weekend is abbreviated as well. And then the website is blackwritersweekend.com. If you want to learn more about our reward show that we have, the AAMBC Awards nominations open up in the fall. You go to the AAMBCawards.com. That's again AAMBCawards.com, and you'll see how to submit and all that jazz. And for previous years, and ladies, I definitely want to invite you guys to come out next summer when we have this big reunion of Black greatness. And I'm inviting everybody and their mama to come to Black Writers Weekend next summer to be a part of all of the events, the lit crawls, the socials, the parties, the urban book bash, the award show, the after parties, the Sunday brunches. It's a really fun experience. I would love to have all you ladies there. Let me know if you guys can come. Put on your calendars, June 10th through the 14th, 2021. The Lord says the same. We will all be walking around somewhat normal and going to, about life like we used to.
I'm wearing this.
Oh, there you go.
I love that.
But go ahead and bring that because we're gonna have our little mask stuff going on because I think that's the new fashion thing now. Folks just want to cover it up.
Mm-hmm.
But people, please underneath brush, make take care of the hygiene. Don't neglect that part. Please don't. Let's not start that. Let's not start that at all. I don't want to do that. But again, thank you so much, ladies. This has been really, really great. Again, if you guys want to find out more about Dafina, you can go into our event app that you all have access to, or go to blackriseweekend.com and we will navigate you to Dafina's website. Again, ladies, thank you so much. Continue to create, and I will see you all on post-COVID when we all can go outside and play.
Thank you,
Yay.
Tamika.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for doing this. We need it.
Thank you.
Yes, this is fun.
No problem, ladies. Now y'all gotta come and experience the realness next year. I'm not you, especially Tiffany.
What? Wait, what me especially? I'm gonna be there.
Because I've been knowing you the longest.
in 10 years.
Right, I ain't seen you in a decade, so I don't care.
True.
I
All
said
the
what I
living
said.
legends gonna be there. Cherise.
Yes, the living legends. You
Sharina,
know,
Shelly.
and you know that's y'all nickname now. I gotta call y'all living legends now.
LL.
It is what it is.
No square.
Oh man.
All right, ladies, y'all be safe.
All right.
Okay. Thank
Let's start with an easy thing, right? What has your love life been like?
Passion and love makes people do crazy things. I have, over the years, experienced horrible encounters with this man. I remember one day calling you on the phone, and I was like, Nick, I just need you to stay on the phone with me because I think this is going to be the night that he's going to do something.
School's awful. My relationships with everybody in there was deteriorating. My dad usually wasn't there. He was gone for like hours at a time. I barely saw him. I was usually hungry.
It's not really a healthy balance. There's some men that are there. What I've seen with a lot of men, if they break up, they're fighting you.
Hi guys, my name is Tamika Newhouse, best-selling author of Sugar Hill and the publisher of Dafina Publications, and you are tuned to Traces of Mika Season 2, The Other Side of Healing.